welcome back for another episode. My name is Kate Bowman. Well, we're here. I have been talking about it for months and we are finally in our tiny home. So we have been here for just over a month now and we are loving the Asheville area so much. One thing that we have been surprised by is how different the climate is on the western side of the state versus in the Raleigh area where we used to live. But 4 hours of distance, I guess, makes quite a difference. We wake up to clouds and fog pretty much every morning, and by probably about 9, it's completely burned off and, it's sunny and beautiful for several hours, and then more often than not it clouds up and it rains or thunderstorms almost every night. Although over the last week and a half it has just been sunny and gorgeous, and you can't really ask for more than that. It really feels like the best of both worlds here. We have the mountains and trees that we loved in New Hampshire, and then we'll have the shorter winters here and the warmer temperatures that we love so much about the South. It's a win-win for sure. We are really settled into the house. I would say from a decoration standpoint, things are pretty much almost finished, but we have had our ups and downs for sure. We knew that when we moved in, we were going to have several cosmetic issues to deal with because the builder ran out of time to finish the build, and we needed it in North Carolina because we weren't going to have a place to live. So we knew that was going to be part of the deal, but what we weren't expecting was to have a house that in some ways was very hard to function in. We had problems with the stove because it hadn't been converted over to propane. The fridge didn't open all the way because it wasn't the way it was set into the custom build. Our sink wasn't working right. The shower was leaking. The toilet was leaking. Like, if there was a problem, I think we had it. I really do. Things are slowly settling down, but as I say that, right now our washing machine is broken, so maybe not. Luckily, we think it's going to be an easy fix. The hubs ordered in the part from Amazon, and so hopefully we will have a washing machine by Friday night again. Please. But all in all, the way we've kind of been phrasing things lately is we paid for a move-in ready home and we got a fixer-upper. We've had a few contractors in and out of the house. We're estimating about $25,000 to $30,000 to get this house to where it should have been when we received it. We're not particularly excited about that, but we're dealing with it. Because what else can you do, really? Even with the numerous issues going on in the house, we do love our house. It's pretty and it's cozy and it is so much more spacious than we were counting on, which is awesome. Our home is 32 feet long by 10 feet wide, but it feels so much bigger. There are 3 adults currently living in this home, and at no point have we felt like the space is too small. I would say that the hardest part that I have found about living in this space so far are the endless disasters, but besides that is just making the space like really functional and really organized, because when you don't have a lot of space to work with, that is huge. And I have been struggling with that, which I will show you as we do the tour. And speaking of tour, I know that's what you're waiting for, so let's get to it. So it is a super sunny day today and we have windows everywhere, so I'm going to do the best that I can to not completely blind you. So just bear with me here. So this is our living room space and I absolutely love it. It is super cozy. If you'll remember, I had put our home reserve couch together at our old house in New Hampshire, and we are finding that the extra storage within the seats is awesome and it's pretty comfortable. And then of course over here we have the cabinet that I had redone. It's working out pretty well. The one thing that I wish that we could change is, and I'm hoping to change, is I don't love the black wires hanging out of the wall. So hopefully we're going to find a fix for that. When it comes to decorating, I really love to start with a very, very neutral palette. So when we had the house built, I wanted everything to just kind of be white and to use a wood flooring that worked well with everything. What I really like to do is I like to let the accents kind of do the talking in the house and just like add little pops of color here and there. As I decorated for fall this year, you'll probably notice that there's not much going on. We've got, I did the blanket, so we've got the little fall candle over there, and then we've got this pumpkin and another candle over here. And other than some fresh flowers and one other little thing, that's kind of it for the fall decor. Since we're working in such a super, super small space, I wanted to keep it very simple because oftentimes less is definitely more. So I think the best way to move through this tour is, obviously this is a very small space, but there's a lot going on. So I think we'll start with like the custom side of the house, and then we'll move more towards like the kitchen area, if you will. Let's get started with the custom stuff. This right here is the custom ladder that allows Connor to get up to his loft, and his loft space is right here above the living room. When we moved in, the contractors that we have been working with said that the ladder was not really safe for Connor's weight. I mean, he's 200 pounds of muscle and teenager. So they ended up adding these little brackets to make it a more weight-bearing ladder. I don't necessarily love them per se, but it makes things functional. So you know what? It works. And then we're moving on to this space here. And this was kind of an 11th hour addition. It was supposed to be a place to put the ladder, but it ended up that the ladder fit in there so snugly, we could hardly get it out. And then on top of that, it was scraping up the floor. So when we have this entire section kind of ripped out and redone, we're going to get rid of this and get the living space back right here. I mean, that's a good 1.5 feet of living space that we could have. But for now, we're just kind of using it as a secondary closet, which I don't love, especially since the door fell off. And you can see everything in here. So this next space here is our closet. This was one of the areas that for about 2 to 3 weeks, it was a mess. It was a disaster, and I wasn't quite sure how to use it well to work for us. Then I ordered in some cloth drawers, and it was a game changer. So let's take a look. So here we go. So these drawers are gonna have to be redone, but I think I'm gonna do a different video for that. I'm just gonna show you kind of what we have going on. We have this nice space up here, and our Breville oven has been our lifesaver. It is too hot to heat up our regular oven right now. I ordered in these cloth drawers, and they hold Jack's stuff. They hold some extra like cleaning things, like the extra Dyson things. And of course, we've got the yoga mat, Jack's food, and the tools that we use pretty much almost every day. And so here we are moving on to our refrigerator. This is an apartment size refrigerator. This right here was one of the things that I was really nervous about. It's so small. We've always had such big refrigerators, and Connor eats a ton. But surprisingly, it's worked out really well. There's a ton of space inside, and we haven't had any issues with feeling like we don't have enough food. So perfect. Above the refrigerator, we've had some custom cabinets built in here, which that's just all going to get ripped out because if you'll notice, they don't meet. And then beneath the refrigerator here is a pull-out drawer for a little extra space, which comes in handy when you don't have a lot of space. This is our pull-out pantry. That didn't exactly turn out at all the way that I wanted, but you know what? It's functional for now. It's not ideal, but it's functional. So we've got our extra dishes up here, our air fryer that again, we also use that fairly regularly instead of heating up the house with the oven. And then we have, the pantry drawers that pull out. And this here is another space where I am just really struggling to organize. Every single drawer looks like this. They are a mess. I am trying to kind of come up with a system for this space in here. But this area holds all of our food. So far it's working out. And now we are moving on to the stairs that take us up to our loft. This was the space where the builder he didn't have time to finish them. After we saw the construction that had gone on in here, I feel pretty okay with the fact that he was not able to finish them. We're having one of our neighbors who happens to live in a tiny home and who is an amazing carpenter. He is going to be building our stairs for us, and they're going to look a heck of a lot like his. And we love his. They're very functional. But so let's take a look at what we've got here. So these are the steps. They look kind of steep, but they work well. They were going to have pull-out drawers, but what we're going to do now is we're going to have a pull-out drawer here, a pull-out drawer here, and then the rest of the steps are going to have the stair is going to open, and so give us some more function that way and some more storage that way. Because I don't know if you watch tiny house shows, but when they talk about how storage is everything, they mean it. Storage is everything. And so then we just have some extra space over here. And we weren't exactly sure how we wanted to use that, but I wanted to have a normal trash can. So we found this trash can here. It holds trash and recycling in it, so it's not taking up any extra precious space. All right, so that's the custom side of the house. And so now we will move on to the dining area and kitchen. All right, so here we are on we call it the dining area and the kitchen side of the tiny. This right here was absolutely vital to me. Here, let's get into better light. I had watched one of those van builds, you know, like how they convert a van and they kind of live in the van full time. And one of the things that the woman had said was that she had gotten this great advice to make sure that when you're building your house, you're building a space that reflects your values. And I loved that. And I kept that with me while we were kind of designing the home that we wanted to create. Two of the things that I hold the most dear are family and our health. It was absolutely vital that we had a place that we could sit down together every night and have dinner together. We have always had family dinners in the house for as long as the boys have been in existence. And I think that's one of the reasons why our family is so close, is because at dinner time, it was a time to kind of discuss our days and talk about any problems that were kind of coming up in life, and just also having like a ton of fun. So that was something that I absolutely was not willing to give up in a tiny house. All along, Brian and I had said that if we were going to do this, if we were going to go tiny, one of the important things to us was that even though we were going to be living in a much smaller space, it had to be a realistic, functional space, and it needed to be normal. Like, it's small, but we needed all of the things that you would find in a normal, typical home. And so we have our table and chair set. Let's look at that a little closer. This is pretty normal for the way we keep things during like the day. These are the chairs that we have for this space. They are super light. You know, when it's dinner time, we just set everything up, but it's just easier that if and when we need a chair, we just kind of move it at that point. This right here, I'm not exactly sure where to put it yet. So it's just kind of been camping out over here, but this is an air purifier, and I really wanted to have an air purifier in the home, especially since this is new construction and it's, you know, there's usually typically dust everywhere, and there's like new construction smells of like the wood and, you know, sometimes chemically stuff. So I really wanted the air to be fresh. Plus, we live in a very small space with a very big dog. I just want the house smelling fresh and clean all of the time. But this right here is our dining space. This right here is our kitchen space. I don't feel like we're really lacking for anything here. I absolutely love to cook and bake. We make most of our own food every day, so we just needed to have a quote unquote normal space to be able to function as a kitchen. We got the typical things. We wanted to make sure that we had a normal standard size sink with a garbage disposal. We had gone for 4 years without a garbage disposal, and I hated how much food waste we were throwing into a regular trash can, so I'm so happy to have that. And as we move down here, we have a standard size gas range and oven here. And then of course, we've got a microwave. This right here was not planned for this corner. There were going to be shelves over here, but that didn't end up working out. It's a great way to use some vertical space, and it just keeps things handy. And we just have, like, you know, the normal stuff. We've got your silverware here, which I pared down significantly. I got rid of an entire set. I used to have 2 sets. One thing that I had forgot to mention was that because tiny house living, obviously you can kind of move to wherever you want to be, sort of. We always wanted to make sure that we kind of were in charge of our water, because of course water is just so precious and it plays such a big role in your health. So we ended up doing a reverse osmosis system. The one thing that we weren't expecting was that when we did that, it was going to take up so much of our space under the sink. We opened that and we're like, oh my gosh, what is that? So this is our reverse osmosis system, and our water tastes amazing. This was a space where I was having a hard time organizing, but I feel like I've sort of figured it out. So I keep a lot of our cleaning supplies under here, and I like to put our dish rack away during the day if I can. I don't love visual clutter. So that's what's going on under there. This is kind of that part where I don't quite know. Like, I'm assuming you guys don't want me opening every single cupboard and pulling open every single drawer and showing you everything that we have. So I'm not going to do that. Obviously, if you guys want me to do that at some point, you know, go ahead and let me know, and I absolutely will. But so I'll just leave the kitchen there for now. From this point, I'm trying to debate if we're going to go up to the loft or go into the bathroom. But I think we'll just stay on the first floor for now, and we'll go into the bathroom. So the bathroom, let's go ahead and talk about that for a second. Was it last week? I don't know. It was either this last weekend or 2 weekends ago. The bathroom flooded. Like, all out flooded. I went in to start a load of laundry, and then Brian came in a couple of minutes later. When we were stepping on the floor, like, water was seeping out of the floorboards. It was a disaster. Long story short, the floor got completely ripped up, and the guys actually came yesterday to put the new floor in. The new flooring that we chose in such a small space, it's a little busy. So just be ready. This right here is our pretty little barn door. And that takes us into the bathroom here. And I will say that I do love this space. So this is the new flooring. We need to get a transition strip. So we're going to do that this weekend. We have some bathroom projects to do this weekend. So we're going to get a transition strip and we'll put that in to make the floor look a little bit nicer right there. This is our washer and dryer, and I absolutely love this washer and dryer. I was super afraid that the washer and dryer weren't going to be big enough, but they actually are. But as we speak, the washing machine is broken. It is full of water because it won't drain. So there's that. But the dryer is super spacious and I can do a regular size load in here, which is awesome. This here is our bathtub. It's actually, a nice deep tub. I have not taken a bath in it yet. It'll just have to be for another time when things feel a little less ridiculous. But eventually we are going to have this entire tile taken out and redone with something different. If you'll notice here, this was kind of done in a screwy way so the water gets trapped in there. And then if you'll notice here, this is not centered with the wall, which that's not going to work for me. We're going to have this redone and make it so that the tiling is actually centered and not silly looking. This is where we hold our towels. I just ordered some new towels that were recommended to us by Mike, the man who is rebuilding our steps. I was finding that the towels were kind of getting stinky. There's just not a ton of air circulation in a tiny home. So he suggested some new towels that I'm going to try out that dry super fast. They're super absorbent. So we're going to give that a shot. This right here is our cute little vanity and sink. We ended up going with a medicine cabinet. I will say that I was not super excited about doing a medicine cabinet. I wanted more of a decorative mirror. But then we got here and I realized how much bathroom stuff we had, and this cute little mirror has become our lifesaver. Fits a ton of things in there, and so I'm just so happy to have it. One of the surprising areas that I didn't recognize that we had too much stuff in was the bathroom. We just had so much stuff. This was an insane disaster. It's getting a little bit better as we kind of use things up, but I'm an organized kind of gal. I like things to be kind of organized, so I wanted it to be more like this. I want everything to be more like this. Not that that's actually looking all that hot right now. And then of course over here we ended up putting in these little floating shelves, which I think they're cute, and they're also functional. So cotton balls, cotton swabs, the little face pad things there, and then of course a toilet, because everybody needs one. This right here is our closet where Brian and I keep all of our clothes. We did have those IKEA cubes in here, the things that hold 4 bins in them, but it just wasn't working. I was finding that the bins were too deep and it was really kind of hard to access all of our clothes. So I ended up ordering in more of those cloth drawers, but I ordered in bigger ones this time. But the thing about when you're trying to organize in a tiny house is it just kind of becomes this thing, and I'm going to show you what I mean right now. And I am slightly embarrassed that I am even showing you this because this right here is a disaster. I'm not quite sure what to do with this, but this is kind of all of the supplies, laundry type stuff. As soon as I'm able to get rid of this and get back to my true earth, that will help. But when we first got here, I usually order this in the mail, and I knew I wasn't going to have enough time to get them before I ran out of the strips. So I want to use this up. This right here is where Brian and I keep our clothes. When we had the cubes in here, we were able to put our laundry basket on top of the cubes. But as you can see, that doesn't work in here. We have this going on right now. I ordered in 3 different hampers to see which one is going to work the best. But until that happens, we've got that. Thank goodness they will be here tomorrow. Brian and I are each going to use 3 drawers. I have socks and underwear in here. And then in here, I kind of have done the Marie Kondo style where I put all of my shirts in here, and then there's shorts and pants in here. And then what we're going to do here is we ended up installing, it's kind of like a rack and you can pull it in and out. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put some special hangers on there, and they're these S hangers. They'll hold our pants and those types of things like that. That is the plan at this point, but I am finding that as we go along through this little journey of kind of getting things situated and set up, that what we think is going to work doesn't always work out the way that we expect it. I will keep you up to date on whether or not that ends up being a good plan for us. All right, so let's get ready to head up to the loft and I will show you my favorite place in the entire house. So we head upstairs and here it is. Here is our little loft and I absolutely love it. All right, so I had to turn the camera off for a second so I could get settled in. It's a small space, which isn't particularly a graceful space. We have an 8-cube system from IKEA and I just wanted the top part to be just kind of like, decorative kind of things. We're going to use these little cubby things for like sweaters and sweatpants and like the bulkier items. We will each get 2 of those. After it doesn't fit anymore, we don't get to keep it. That's what we're going with for now. This area, I was so I can't even tell you how afraid I was of this space when they were building our tiny house. Brian is incredibly claustrophobic. And then on top of that, I was envisioning belly crawling to bed every night and like being super, super close. It just hasn't turned out that way at all. In fact, every night the guys sit downstairs and watch Game of Thrones and I come on upstairs here and I set myself up with a cup of tea and a candle and I'll either like watch a show. I definitely do some journaling every night and it's my favorite space. It's just so cozy and I couldn't be happier with it. And then the guy's loft is across the way, but since that is Connor's bedroom right now, I kind of want to keep that private for him. But when he heads out for basic training, I'm going to kind of set it up into a more general guest space and I will show it to you then. But it's just as cute and it's just as cozy, but I really want to respect his privacy. So this is it. This is our wonderful, adorable, super cozy tiny house. I am so happy we did this. Even with all of the shenanigans going on, I do not have a single regret that we have gone tiny. I haven't missed a single thing that we have said goodbye to. We have a storage unit at this point that still has way too many things in it. It's actually incredibly fun to go through it and just say goodbye to things. So it's funny because when the washing machine broke yesterday, there was actually a load of laundry in there. And so we ended up going to the main house on the property where we live to finish our laundry. I was kind of wandering around the house a little bit and I was just kind of looking around and I said to Brian that, it's so interesting that we've only lived tiny for a month. But as I look around this house, I know that I don't think I will ever be able to go back to living in a normal sized house. I feel like we have everything that we need in this tiny little space. And I'm so happy with it that I don't see us needing to go back to anything bigger. But life changes and times change. But for now, I am super happy to be in this home. I think I am going to leave off right here in my favorite space and say thank you so much for spending a part of your day with me. I'm so excited that I finally got to share our sweet little house with you. I absolutely love it here. If you have any questions or if I missed anything that you had wanted to see but I didn't show you in the house, feel free to just let me know in the comments section. I will be back with another video next month. Until then, bye.